guys, Big Monday here, and today we have another low MMR replay coaching. This is Snakehandler on Reddit. This is one of the Reddit requests. In-game name is President Taft, and in this game he played the Shadow Shaman. Now, I picked this game because it shows something I've wanted to really show for a while that's difficult to get a good example of, is when supports will stand in lane and they offer moral support and don't really do anything practical, and what that ends up doing is it steals... at the very least, steals experience from your core. It loses opportunities you could get elsewhere. And really, all you're doing is standing there to feel like you're doing something. You're not really achieving anything. So, as I picked up this game, it's a great game to really display it. First off, I'm going to say, I mean, this isn't the best ward count, but for your MMR, it's well above what most people are doing. So you're warding quite well. Camp stacking, 0 camp stack. You need to keep in mind stacking camps. Each camp is timed slightly differently, but they're all between 53 and 55 seconds. Basically, you just hit the camp once and then walk out of its range. If you hold the Alt key, which I'll show you in a minute, you hold the Alt key, it will show you the camp's range. In fact, if I jump into the game now, you hold the Alt key. Can't do it while you're paused, but if you hold the Alt key, it will show you the camp's range. See this box? This is the camp's range. If you manage to pull the creeps out of there, you'll get 15% bonus gold if somebody else on your team kills them. So stacking in particular has been really buffed in the last patch. You get loads of extra gold as support for it. So spending time stacking is really good. Now, all the camps are slightly different timing. So if you go to Google or YouTube and put in just Google Dota 2 stack timing map, and you should get some maps up of where people have drawn the timings on for the different camps. But generally, it's 53 to 55 seconds. Each camp varies slightly. Most of them, if you hit it at 54, you should be alright. So keep an eye on the clock. Don't commit all of your time to stacking, but it's just if you're near a camp at the stack timing, move over, get it stacked. It massively increases your core's gold gain, and now with this buff, so you get bonus gold. Every time you stack, you get some bonus gold if somebody else clears it. You don't have to clear it yourself. Just stack it for somebody else. So anyway, let's get on to the game. Let's switch up into full screen view. And so, what we've got here, let's talk about your starting items first off. You've got double regen, which is fine. You've got iron branches, fine again. Town portal scroll, yeah, well, you start with that. And clarities. Now, normally I'd say this is a reasonable starting build, but this is bad. And this is bad because of the way you used it. And basically, these two clarities are a complete waste. It's not necessarily bad to start with clarities on a hero like Shadow Shaman, but the way you used them was bad. So it's like you're not putting a great deal of thought into your starting items. I think you just bought this because that's what you do. You didn't think, oh, I'll buy clarities because that allows me to spam my spells more, and that allows me to harass someone and chase them out of lane, because you're not doing that. So if you are for either, you need to make use of all your starting items, which in clarity's case means you spam your spells quite a bit. You use it for extra harass, and then it's worth having clarities. So you either use that starting item or just don't buy it and spend the gold on something else. I mean, in this game, just 2 extra ironwood branches would have been more value than the clarity. But I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just saying it would have been more value. Now, the tangos, again, if you buy 2 sets of tangos, what you want to be doing is trading a lot with the enemy team. Now, if you buy double regen, which in most cases you should, it's not a bad thing to buy double regen. If you buy 2 stacks of regen, and you spend most of your time stacking camps or hiding, soaking up XP, and you're not really harassing or trading, then you're wasting that extra regen. You might as well have got saved up for a wand, or bought an extra ward, or get a smoke ready to get you. Just anything, really. So this I felt you did use, but these I felt you didn't. So let's get on with the game. Let's fast forward a little bit. I'm glad. I mean, this is quite like your first skill. I mean, this is by far... Shackle's got nerfed. I mean, it's really nice it puts in the tooltips now. I mean, it got a major nerf at level 1, but still, it's still by far your best skill. And now, it's... The way you get maximum damage from it has kind of shifted a bit now, is that you need to make sure there's somebody else or creeps to hit somebody to really optimize the damage, but still, the disable duration means if this guy's in range, he's going to hit like 3 or 4 times, which is 60, 120, 100, like, you're going to get around 180, maybe more damage during the duration, but you're just going to make sure when you do use it, people are in range. So, let's talk about this moral support thing for a start. Currently, what you are doing is standing in experience range, and that's it. You're looking scary to the enemy team. So this is what I call moral support. You're here. This guy feels a bit safer because you're hanging around. You feel like you're here to save his life. So you both feel like you're doing something useful. Now, if you are in experience range, you need to make sure you're doing something really positive for that. And usually that will be you need to be harassing the enemy team, or trying to kill them. Either's fine. Or you know, even if you just got a disabler with no damage, just you need to be doing something to stop them. Now, in your case, you spent a lot of time in this lane. In fact, you know, to half speed. You spent a lot of time in this lane, in lane, but not really hitting the enemy. So now it's nearly time to go pull the creep camps. So you could be backed off. Now, if you were hitting it, if you were standing here and hitting this guy again and again and again and again, I'd be like, oh, okay, you're doing something for being in the lane. But that's the first time you've hit him. But you spent all this time standing in lane. You could be doing anything else. In fact, it would be much better for this guy to get a level advantage on these guys if you to not be here. So if you're going to be in the lane with him, you need to justify your presence. And you justify your presence by continuously right-clicking him. Now, this is a bit of a dangerous lane because if you were to approach from like over here and the Huskar gets you isolated, he's going to find it really easy to kill you with just a few burning spear stacks. So this is a bit of a dangerous lane. But the trouble is, you're approaching from the middle of the lane, and what's happening is every time you try and right-click the enemy, the creeps are aggroing you. So there's a couple of things you can do to deal with that. If we kind of hoping you'll go for it again. Let's move my mouse out the way. So whenever you right-click the anti-mage, a couple of times so far you've right-clicked him. Like now, right. Let's just rewind that a bit. I'm going to pause that moment. Right, so here's your cursor just to make sure we're clear. Right, so you back off a bit. That's fine. I mean, you're not being hit by anything, so you could be just right-clicking this guy again and again and again and again. Pretty harassed. This guy's melee. You could just continuously hit him. But what I want to focus on is the Huskar. Now, watch your cursor. There's also, just before we do that, take a look at your attack range, yeah? So, there. Okay. So, you just right-click to attack the Huskar. Now, as soon as you right-click an enemy hero, the creeps are suddenly going to consider you a priority for target. So they're going to stop attacking your creeps, and they're going to attack you instead. And what you'll find in the laning phase, when you're trying to harass people like this, the majority of the damage you take in most cases, not all, but in most cases, will be not from the enemy heroes, but from the enemy creeps. So we fast forward just a little bit more here. As you're right-clicking, you see these creeps have now aggroed you? And you're not even in attack range yet, and the enemy creeps are hitting you now. So what you can do instead to make sure that you take less creep damage is if you right-click the ground to walk towards the enemy hero, rather than right-clicking the enemy hero themselves, is you can actually get all that distance. You could get up to here before the enemy creeps aggro you. Then you can hit the enemy a couple of times and then back off. And what that's going to do, you're going to get a couple of hits in before the creeps aggro you and manage to close the distance to you, and then you walk off. So that's just a couple of hits you'll get in, but you can back off and then you do it again, and each time you take no damage. But the way you've done it now, you're not even in attack range yet, and this guy is already partway through his attack animation. So he's going to hit, this creep is going to hit you and do damage to you before you're even capable of hitting the Huskar. So you have to be aware of your attack range, and instead of right-clicking the enemy hero, you walk up, just right-click the floor, walk up to them. If you right-click the floor, the enemy creeps will not stop attacking your creeps. The way the creep aggro works is if the enemy creeps are already attacking a target, they will only change target if that target dies, or if you attack a hero. So assuming your creep wave is still here, so your creeps aren't dying, you can walk all the way up here. You could walk back and forth through here, and the enemy creeps will not attack you as long as you don't attack one of these guys. Now, as soon as one of your creeps die, so we see this creep, the range creep, is attacking this guy. So as soon as this guy dies, the creep is going to aggro the closest enemy. So if you were to walk up here and stand here, and then this guy dies, the range creep is going to aggro the closest enemy, which would be you. So you need to watch for when your own creeps die, but generally, all this moment that you're right-clicking the Huskar and these guys are coming to attack you, you could just be walking up ready, and then you start right-clicking it. It gives you an extra couple of... Effectively, you could have taken a couple less creep hits in this trade, which doesn't sound like a huge amount, but it really can be. Let's just watch it again. So you got it. What's 1, 2, 3. You got hit by the creeps 3 times there, and you only got 1 hit off. Whereas if you'd have walked up, you could have got 2 hits in before the creeps even got close enough to hit you. You could have got a lot more damage for the damage you did to him, and maximizing this damage when you're trading is really important. So that's one thing. You need to right-click the ground to walk towards the enemy hero before you right-click him, so that the enemy creeps don't aggro you until you are actually dealing damage. The other thing you can do is you can approach from this way, or you can sort of hide in the trees here. So you're further away from the enemy creeps when you start right-clicking. Now in this game, that can be a little bit dangerous, because if this Huskar manages to isolate you up here, he can actually kill you. So you need to be able to retreat through your creeps. But in most cases, you want to be off to the side a little, trying to get between the enemy and the creep wave. But this is a bit of an aggressive lane, so we'll let you off with that for the moment. Again, so this is okay. You're continuously right-clicking the enemy, and that's fine. Now you got a little bit, probably a couple steps too far forward, so you took a couple extra hits from the anti-mage then. But that moment where you're in lane and you're continuously right-clicking the enemy, that's great. Because it means that your presence in the lane is contributing something. Now, I do want to let's just pause it again. I want to talk about pulling. Now, if you're not sure when to pull, this camp at 14 to 15 seconds past the minute, or 44 to 45 seconds past the minute, you right-click this camp, and then you run down here. And what that'll do is your lane creeps will pull over to this camp. Now it varies a bit by the side of the camp, but what you'll want to do is connect this camp to this camp by doing the same thing. You walk over here, you hit this camp once, and then you walk sort of down to stand about here, and you need to time it as this camp dies. That's a little bit fiddly, because this camp, depending on what spawns, it takes different amounts of time for your creeps to kill it. But generally, when there's like 1.5 creeps left, you want to wander over to hit these guys. It takes a bit of practice. Just make note of what spawns here to get used to the slightly different timings. The camp that is a bit more awkward is the kobold camp, where there's like 5 creeps. But generally, when there's 1.5 left is when you want to wander over. So you pull in. Now, your creep wave is right up to the tower. So normally this would be a bad thing to pull because you're going to take some tower damage. But so you don't want to pull when you're right up against the tower, because here, sitting right on the edge of tower range, is exactly where you want the creep wave to be. These guys are pushing it, so it's coming up. So it's coming up a little bit close to your tower, which is, I mean, these guys are bad, but so you don't want to pull when you're already down here. Usually, now when your creep wave is all the way up here, that's when you want to go and pull. Now, if it's somewhere in between and you're not sure whether you should pull or not, a lot of players will complain at you for pulling a little bit too much, and sometimes the enemy creep wave will then come down past the tower. Now, at a higher level, I would expect you to worry about that, but as long as your lane partner has got a stout shield, he's not going to take too much damage from tanking creeps. And if he's got a quelling blade, he should be able to last hit under tower if he's competent. Bear in mind, you are making it harder for him, so that you don't want to aim to do this. But if you're in a bit where you're not sure if you should pull, then just go and pull anyway, because the extra experience you get, and the experience that the enemy team lose is usually worth pulling the enemy creeps a little bit too far or under when you're not sure. Now, like I say, when your creeps are here, when they're right on the edge of tower range, you don't want to pull. When they're all the way up here, you want to make sure you pull. Now, when they're somewhere in between and you're not sure, just go and pull anyway. As you get higher level, you'll sort of start to recognize things like the amount of creeps that are there and whether it's going to push. Or maybe if you're not sure, tell your core to push it a little bit. And you'll start to see that cores will react to what you've done and maybe push it out a little bit or try and control and get it in the right position. But if you're ever not sure, just pull anyway for the early part of the game, because generally the extra experience you get is sort of offsets a slightly bad decision anyway. And if you get extra XP, this guy's getting solo XP, you'll get an advantage in lane then. So it's kind of worth it a little bit. Just be aware that people might get a little bit annoyed if you pull it under tower too much. So let's carry on. Again, you're spending a lot of time, and I'm talking over all of this while the game plays on. You're spending quite a bit of time just standing in the creep wave again. Or you're standing around giving moral support. Now this is good, hitting these guys. I'll get to the point where there's a good couple of kill opportunities here. So there is a couple of trades here where you could... But this point here, where the creep wave's up here, is probably a good time to go pull. And it's near the minute mark, so it's time to go off and get ready to pull. What you can do generally is if you leave the lane about 45 seconds past, 50 seconds past, you can get here just in time to stack it, then collect the runes if it's the 2-minute mark, then come down here to pull. You're only going to spend about 20 to 25 seconds out of lane babysitting this guy. You get a lot of XP for it yourself, you get a decent amount of gold for it yourself, and you deny these guys a lot of XP. So sadly, take it. Right, I'm going to let this play, and then we're going to break this. We're going to break this down. Once he's got, okay, we're disengaged. All good. Right, so there's a point here where let's just change back to your player perspective. So there's a point here where all your creeps aggroed the Huskar, and you could have killed him. You could have finished this guy off if you turned at the right moment. So let's play it in slow motion. What you're watching is you start trading with the Huskar, and he starts doing really, really good damage to you, and you recognise that and you backed off, which is exactly what you should have done. But then there's a moment after that where this massive creep wave you've got, excuse me, this massive creep wave you've got aggroes the Huskar. You're far enough back that the anti-mage will struggle to back him off. I mean, he does have blink, but he'll struggle to back him up. Now, I'm going to, let's say, we'll slow-mo this. You see, this guy is right-clicking you now, so your creeps are going to prioritize attacking him. So you need to back off like you're doing now. And he's using his orb. But you see this? See that moment there where the creeps start attacking him? That's the moment where you can start to out-trade him. Now, what you do... the perfect moment is when he's a little bit closer. So you just keep going. And here. Maybe here. Now, you see at this moment, he's got 1, 2... Let's free cam it. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 creeps. 3 of which are ranged. So there's 6 creeps attacking this guy. If you were to turn and shackle him now, he's going to take massive damage from these guys. Even if he doesn't right-click you now, they're not going to de-aggro him unless he either gets out of their range or you die. So this moment where all your creeps are attacking, this is the point where you turn, and for 2.75 seconds, all 6 of those creeps is hitting him. And assuming your Legion Commander is actually paying attention, she's going to turn around and start hitting him too. Now, you're going to take a decent amount of extra damage from doing this, because he's going to get at least 1 more Burning Spear on you. But during the duration, he's going to lose almost all of his health. He's going to lose almost all of his health. This guy's going to be hitting him too. You're going to get 140 damage from Ether Shock, although bearing in mind this, he does have magic resistance, but he's got 20% magic resistance. He's got 28% built in, so he's got about 50%. So you're going to do 60 damage as you come out of shackles. Your shackles are going to do another 60 damage. So then 30. So you're going to do about 90 damage from your shackles. This guy's got 620 health. That's going to take him down to 530. That's 530 even before we consider all these guys are going to be hitting him for 3 seconds. This guy's going to be hitting him for 3 seconds. This guy's going to be very, very close to dying. Now, once your shackles wears out, this guy's got a choice. He can either try and escape, or he can go for the kill on you. But either way, he's dying. Because if he continues to chase you for the kill after the shackles, this guy's going to kill him. If he just turns and runs, he might escape, but even if he escapes, that means he's out of lane. You're a support. Getting rid of a core is fine. Now, he's kind of not a core because he's with an anti-mage, but he is a core. He's supposed to be a core. So, if you were to recognise this moment here where all the creeps aggroed him, that is your moment to shackle him and disable him. And if you're playing any other hero, any hero with good slowers or with roots, with stuns, that moment there where the creeps all turn around and start hitting him, they're the moments you really want to take advantage of trading with someone. Even if you would just stand there and right-click him, he'd take a lot more damage than you. I mean, he does have Burning Spear. He is a Huskar, so he's going to do way more damage than most other heroes will do to you. But this moment is a really favourable moment to trade. Now, you bear in mind, Burning Spears actually drains some of his health. So it's actually going to hit you repeatedly with that. Is going to lower his health faster. So I wouldn't rely on being able to right-click a Huskar, because, like I say, this guy does do a lot more damage one-to-one than most other heroes do. But in most cases, when you see this moment where the creeps aggro him, you're out of range of the enemy creeps, that is the moment to turn and strike and disable him and make him tank all those hits. Just bear in mind, like I say, when you break the shackles, if he tries to kill you, he will be really close to killing you. Look how low his health is now. If you'd have shackled him for that 3 seconds, he would be so dead right now. I mean, he's got 350 health. I think he'd definitely have been dead. Let's fast forward a bit. Okay, we are perfect time now. 3:45. Brilliant time to back out, get ready to stack this camp, hit it at 54, run north, wrap around that tree, and then go get the rune. And then, because the creep wave is all the way up here, then we go and pull. Okay, let's just fast forward a bit, let's see what you do. Okay, so you come over here and you pick up the rune. Now, you were here in advance. and you can see, take a look at the map, you can see that both the enemy heroes are sitting in lane. What you could have done, knowing that it was safe, and you know it's safe because you can look at the map and see where they are, is you have time to run to their rune, steal their rune, come back and get yours as well, and then go and pull. Now, if you're going to do that, you have to be at their rune at the 4 minutes mark, because you don't have time to run all the way to your pull camp if you go late to their rune. But just bear that in mind when it's approaching the 2 minutes and 4 minutes, when it's approaching the even minutes, look where these guys are. If they're still showing in lane, they're no threat to you. They're not going to come over to their rune. If they disappear, you have to be worried. But keep an eye on the map, wander over to their rune, steal theirs, take yours. You get a lot more gold. Just want to comment as well, really good purchase picking up the boots. It's really good first item, particularly on someone with such good long range and such good early game damage as a Shadow Shaman. He's really good. This is really going to help you trade. Perfect. You see what I'm saying? Doing this from the side where the enemy creeps are less likely to harass you is much better for trying to harass our enemy heroes. So we're up to about 4.5 minutes now, and I want to highlight another point. So I said at the start, your starting items were fine in most cases, but you don't use them. I mean, look at this. You still have 2 clarities and full mana. Now, if you're going to get 2 clarities, you need to be spamming your spells. You really need to be. I mean, these have done nothing for you. You got a total 3.2 mana regen for 50 seconds is a huge amount of mana. That's like 150 mana. 150 mana, that's, even if you discount any bonus regen or your own regen, that's enough to cast a whole shackles. So each of these is a shackle. Basically what I'm saying is, in the first 2 minutes of the game, you should have got 2 shackles off in order to justify having these clarities. Now, you need to look for good moments when the enemy creeps are hitting the enemy heroes, or when your Legion Commander is in range to hit the enemy heroes. But if they're just sitting in your inventory and you're not using your spells, they're doing nothing. Now, the perfect time to use them is sort of come into lane. If you find one of those good moments where the enemy's tanking creeps or the Legion Commander's hitting him, you shackle him, he takes a lot of damage. Then you back out to do a pull. As soon as you leave to do the pull, you pop your clarity, because that way you're not in lane with the enemy heroes. They're not going to see that you have a clarity running, so they're not going to get a chance to cancel it, because jungle creeps don't cancel clarity. So you can use your clarity as you walk away to go do your pull, and then even if you come back and find the enemy heroes, you've got most of the clarity by the time you come back. So these 2 clarities represent 2 moments where you could have acted aggressively on one of the enemy heroes, and they couldn't have done anything about it, because they're disabled for nearly 3 seconds. And you've not used them, so spend them on something else. Or start using them. I mean, ideally, use them. Okay, let's fast forward a little bit. That was a moment where we might have been able to go for a kill. Let me just rewind and we'll go over that again. There. Let's slow-mo this. So, Oscar comes in. Now this would have been really risky because one of you is going to tank a lot of these creeps. So I want to break this one down because it was a moment when the Legion Commander was really tanking the creeps for you. Again, you are right-clicking the enemy hero. You need to be able to walk up without the creeps aggroing you. So you need to right-click the ground instead of the enemy hero. So there's a moment where the Legion Commander nukes this creep wave and the enemy heroes, like this moment. He's recognised he can do a lot of damage here. It would be good for you to recognise that ahead of time too, but let's not assume you're good with every hero. So what you could do here, wait for him to get now. You see, the Legion Commander is approaching. Now, I think the creeps have aggroed you here, but let's assume you didn't right-click the enemy hero. Let's assume you let the Legion Commander do the right clicking. At this moment, you are in shackle range. So what you could do is you shackle this guy. The Legion Commander is almost close enough to right click him. You shackle him. The Legion Commander is going to get sort of 3, maybe 4 right clicks in for 70 damage apiece. 70, 140, that's 280 damage. This guy is on 360 health. By the time the shackle damage has gone through and your ether shock has gone through, he's going to be 1 or 2 right clicks away from death. There's no way he gets away. Now, whoever tanks these creeps is going to take a significant bonus damage, which is why I mentioned you don't need to be right-clicking this guy at this particular moment. What you could just be doing is if you were right-clicking the floor to get in the position for the shackle and waiting for this guy to tank them, the creeps will aggro the Legion Commander instead, and because he's got a stout shield, he's not going to take much damage from the creep, so he'll be fine. So that was a really good moment for you to really go for the kill there. So, moving on. Just wanted to break that one down. Again, if he comes in again when the Legion Commander's in a good position to right-click him, that's when you want to disable him. I mean, if you were to disable him when the Legion Commander wasn't near him, you'd waste half the duration. But if you've got the Legion Commander almost there and going for him, that's the moment you want to be shackling him. So we're going to get a moment here, I think. I'm going to play it at normal speed. If we get a good moment, we'll break it down. But she missed, but still. I kind of like that you wanted to go up and right-click him, but it's unfortunate the Legion Commander missed her overwhelming odds. That would have been really good to catch. Let's fast forward it again. I mean, she's getting some really good harassing. Now, she's going for the kill now. It's unfortunate that you're just out of shackle range. But this is chasing way too far. You need to recognize that you are not going to catch this guy. Chasing somebody this far is just wasting your time, wasting Legion Commander's time. The creeps are chasing both of you all the time through this. I mean, he's out of lane, which means, I mean, that's a good thing. But there's no need to chase him all that way. Certainly no need for both of you to chase him all that way. What it should have been is you zoning him out and the Legion Commander staying. But once he's got that distance, you give up. Okay. Okay, let's rewind that and talk about how we could have done that more efficiently, if at all. So let's slow-mo it and we'll break things down. The pity you're just shy of level 4 here. You should be watching that as well. Notice you're just shy of level 4, so if something breaks out, there's a good chance you can level up your shackles while the fight is happening. Let's watch and we'll break it down. So again, perfect that you start right-clicking him. Now here, when this guy shows, probably should have... At this point, you're not in range to really be aggroed by the creeps, so you should have right-clicked this guy at least once before you shackle him. We were right-clicking the anti-mage. That's not terrible, but... So you see how it took you a long time to recognize and disable this guy. You backed out because you were afraid, and the Huskar got his heal off. The heal gives him massive regen. He's like 24... health per second. That's a lot. That's a lot of regen. If he hadn't got that off, let's just wait a tiny bit more. Right, if he hadn't got that off, he'd be dead now. Maybe slightly bit more. Let's go. Okay, he'd definitely be dead now. He'd definitely be dead. So this time here, you bear in mind the anti-mage is getting extra hits on your Legion Commander while this is happening. Let's continue. So let's just say he could have been up here, health-wise.
Every coin helps.
So the shackle runs out. Now you could have instantly finished him with ether shock there. As the shackle breaks, you need to be watching the timer and instantly pop the ether shock. You could have finished this guy instantly, but instead he gets a couple of hits in on the Legion Commander. That's 2 hits he got in. Now, each of those hits is going to deal 10 damage per second for 80 seconds, that's 160 extra damage. There's 160 damage that the Legion Commander took because you didn't press your Q as the shackle breaks. If you're going for a kill like that, especially when there's multiple targets in the AoE range of Ether Shock, you need to be instantly casting Ether Shock as the shackles breaks. It would have killed that guy. This guy would have had 160 more health, and at that point, this fight would have gone on a lot longer. Now, keep an eye on your shackles cooldown while this fight goes on. So he's chasing, as you would expect. Now let's go Legion Commander's point of view so we can watch this better. You see, your shackle though, you've got 3 seconds left. This guy is running, but he's taking huge damage from the burning spears. That's it. He got an extra 2 stacks from the Huskar just before he died. So this guy dies now. He could have been alive for sort of about 4 or 5 more. In fact, right clicks are going to do nothing to him now because he had no mana. And he has a stout shield, so he's going to block a lot of the raw right click damage from the anti-mage. So this guy's going to live sort of 4 or 5 more seconds. Assuming this guy carries on chasing him, he might give up. You know, notice your shackle is about to come off cooldown. So if you were to shackle this guy now, and the Legion Commander was still here, Legion Commander's going to hit this guy about 4 times. He's got 220 health. This guy's got 70 damage. That's going to do about 280. This guy would be dead. He'd be totally dead. And all of this changes because you didn't hit your Q as you came out of the shackle, and because you didn't shackle instantly when you saw it. Now, it's not to say you should always shackle instantly, but if we replay that fight, that moment, we look at the moment, like what you're really looking for is for somebody to be in range to hit this guy. I mean, I can't believe the Legion Commander missed overwhelming odds there, but anyway. You see, the Legion Commander recognises at this moment that this guy is low and is an easy kill. If you were to hit Shackle there, that would have been a good moment. As soon as she starts heading towards him, that's the moment you shackle him. But instead, you back out, so it's 1, 2... So even, was that 3? I think that was a 3rd one. Was that a 3rd one? Yeah, you got a 3rd one on him. So actually, the Huskar got 3 burning spears before your shackle and 2 after that he didn't need to get. And that you could have done more efficiently. So hopefully I broke that down enough that you can recognise that in the future. But so let's move on. This video is going to be insanely long. I mean, we're 6 minutes into the game. And we're up to, like, I think 38 minutes. So I don't want to talk too much beyond the laning phase in this, but I do want to skip a bit into... I think we broke down everything that's useful there. I think we're just going to be repeating ourselves, but I want to talk about when you get your ulti briefly. I don't like doing things that are too hero-specific in these, but I think it's worth mentioning. Now, you've got your ult just after 10 minutes. As soon as you've got your ult, one little side note as well, you have enough money for an energy booster, and it actually takes you about 2 minutes, I think, to go and buy it in this game. You can go and buy it from the side shop, save you some time. Again, please shackle this guy, please. Perfect. That was beautiful. That was really beautiful. You got enough money for a nip in the side shop energy booster? Let's carry on because there's actually, I've just remembered there's another point I want to mention. So you just went to the secret shop. You went to the secret shop to buy an energy booster. Why? And you've also just walked past the Legion Commander. Now, notice you don't really need the mana. You have a clarity going. Legion Commander does need the mana. This is not an item for you. This is an item for your team. You need to not just be watching your own mana, you need to be watching everyone around you's mana. I mean, this guy needs mana to spam. If he has, even just for his heal, that's a lot of healing. If you give him that mana, he can heal, he can be in a better position to fight. You need to watch the other heroes. Again, we're about 2 minutes after you've got your ult and you've not used it. Now, you haven't got a great opportunity in this game because the enemy are pushing for you. They're pushing the lane away. So, you're not getting a great opportunity to run in and use your ult. Hopefully you shackle him here. Beautiful. I just want to pass you another compliment here as well before we talk too much about your ult. Because there is something you do really well that players at your level almost never do. Players at your level, tunnel vision. Target acquisition in fights means I see this guy, I kill this guy, or he kills me. Nobody pays attention to what's going on around them. If we watch how this fight develops, you were chasing the Zeus, and immediately, as the Huskar initiates, you change targets. And you recognize that you needed to change target. Now, I really hope you do this regularly, because if you do this regularly, it's something that you do much better than most players at your skill level. Even at 3k MMR, people will regularly just chase the target they wanted in the first place and completely ignore somebody diving their teammate. If you hadn't come over and disabled this guy, the sniper dies without question. But because you reassessed the fight as it was developing and disabled the right person, you managed to save the sniper. I think he might actually die from the burn damage anyway, but he gets the kill. Just see if he does die from the burn damage, because he has got a couple of stacks on him. Because you reassess the fight, you save sniper's life, and you get him a kill. Which makes a massive difference. If that happens like 3 or 4 times in a fight, that makes a huge difference, not just to your team, but also purposely to the carry. Each of those deaths is about 300 gold. 3, 6, 9. That's 1,200 gold from the enemy team, and 1,200 gold for your team. That's a 2.4k net worth lead if you do that 4 times, which is easy to do in a game. So, again, let's go back to your ult. You haven't really got a good opportunity to sort of push the tower in here, because the enemy are pushing it. Which means you've had this skill now for 3 minutes and not done anything with it. In fact, you could have used it, had it off cooldown, and used it again. So, there is 2 ways you can deal with this problem. The first way is to look at your map, go, right, which of my lanes is pushed the most? When you identify that, you turn up to that lane, you nuke the lane, you push it in a bit, you drop your ult on the tower. Now you drop it your side of the tower, so the enemy has to come further. Maybe stick around. If it's safe, you can maybe stick around, nuke the wave again, and then just do as much damage to the tower as you can. The other thing you can do is just write in chat and say, guys, I've got my ult. Maybe alt click it, ping it a couple of times. Tell you guys, can you come down here to fight with us? Now, they might not respond. They're low tier players. They won't always respond. But it's worth saying in the chat, guys, I have my ult. Can we use it, please? Can we organise a fight? And if you go and have a 5-man fight under a tower with this as well, guarantee you take that tower. Unless you get instant 5-man wipes and the enemy can all just farm your serpents, you are going to take a tower with that. So that's what you need to do. You need to, as soon as you've got it, either look around the map for which lane would be best to use it and then go there, or ask your team to come to you. Right, we're running up to about nearly 45 minutes now, so I think we're going to call it there. I think I've covered all the key elements I really wanted to cover. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for submitting. If you found this video useful, please give me a like, subscribe. There's going to be a load more coaching videos for lower MMR players. I'm sure you'll find those very useful. Check out the previous ones. Stick around, subscribe for the next ones. And come join the discussion on Reddit. This is going to be open just like, I don't know if you've really tracked the Dota 2 subreddit. So the Learn Dota 2 subreddit, I always put a discussion up because there is stuff that's worth discussing that would make this video run into hours, and there's a lot more people who will help as well. Please come join the discussion on Reddit as well. Link will be in the description. Thanks for watching. Thanks for submitting. Have a great day. Bye bye.